Okay, so to start out, I chose first grade as my grade level. The subject that I chose was math. Um, and the lesson objective or the Iowa standard that I chose was count to 120, starting at any number less than 120. So, like in this range, read and write numerals and represent a number of objects with a written numeral. And I only chose one standard. I just thought that this was a big enough standard to have been covered, and we would cover this for like quite a while. So, um, I chose two national PE standards. Standard 1, which is the physically literate individual demonstrates competency in a variety of motor skills and movement patterns, and Standard 2 as well. The physically literate individual applies knowledge of concepts, principles, strategies, and tactics related to movement and performance. Now, going on to my lesson sequence or my lesson plan, I would just give a quick refresher with the numerals. This lesson would go for probably about a week, maybe even more. I feel like numerals is something that can be covered for quite a long time. So for this particular day, we would just give a quick refresher in the beginning. Like I said, we've been working on it for a while. They would really understand the numerals and like what number pairs up with what numeral. I would then ask if anyone has any questions that they need answered. We would go over them as a class. Like I said, just a quick refresher, making sure that everybody really does understand. After that, I would go over what the activity is going to be. So the activity that I am going to be doing for my class is around the room. I will have numerals in pairs of 10. It won't be like 1 through 10. It'll be random numerals anywhere from like 1 to 120. So you could have like 5, 8, 17, 23, so on, up until there's just 10 numbers there. The students would go from station to station and write down what 10 numerals are on the wall. So they will have a paper and it'll just be like at station 1 through 10, and you'll write down like what each one is, and with however many stations. So once they've done that, there will also be an exercise for them to do. So for an example, an exercise could obviously just be like 10 jumping jacks, push-ups, burpees, sit-ups, etc., if you know what I mean. But and I chose 10 because there's only 10 at each one, and since we were going from anywhere from 1 to 120, I didn't think it was fair to have them do 120 jumping jacks, you know what I mean? So I just thought 10 was a good number. But I also said that I would add in some of like the fun and hard hand movements that we did for the brain boost, like the patting your head and rubbing your belly. I thought that was also like a good idea to add in there. But yes, I chose that to be for my activity. So like I had said before, I would have the students do each of those exercises 10 times. If they want to do it more, they can, but 10 is like obviously what we're going to have them do. Like I said before, I thought 10 was a good number. It's a good happy medium. It gets them up and moving, but also you have to remember that they're still trying to pair those numerals up with the numbers as well. So they have two things to do there. This should take quite a while, depending on how many stations I have around the room. But once the students are done, I will have a Go Noodle video playing for the students in the front of the room. As they finish up, they can just combine together in the front of the room and get going with that. For success criteria, I will know the students have succeeded when we are done and check as a class the right and wrong answers. Students will turn them in to me once they have been checked, so I know what students understand and what students are not understanding. I know that the students checking the work themselves can go the wrong way with them changing their answers, but I'm hoping that they will do the right thing. Like it's not a test. I just want to know like what they know. The students will use pens, so they aren't just using pencils and erasing their answers, but I think it's right for them to check their answers so they know right then and there like what answers they got wrong and what answers they got right. Assessment, the students will have correctly matched the numerals at the stations with the ones on their paper. Assessment wise, like I said before, they are turning these in to me, so I will know what students are doing really well and what students are going to need more help as well. Obviously I can have an assessment for them at the end of this whole lesson and just have a bunch of numerals on a piece of paper, and then they can write down what is what. But I think this is a more fun way for them to really demonstrate their understanding of the numerals to me, as well as getting that exercise in as too. For team and grouping, the students will be working in small groups around the room at the stations, but I would also like for them to match numerals alone, so I know that they'll understand themselves. But like I said, they'll be in a group, so if they have any questions, they can ask them. But this is going to be part of their assessment, so I really would like for them to work individually, but since in stations around the room, they will be working in small groups. For monitoring learning, I will walk around the room to make sure students are doing the correct thing and understanding the assignment. I don't want students to fail. That's not me, so I just want to make sure that they're going to be doing okay. An adaptation that I will have is for the students who are understanding the numerals, I will work with them at a different table to really work on it. I know sometimes working at back tables calls out those students, but if they don't understand, like, they need that help. Extensions. If a student really doesn't understand the numbers if a student really understands the numbers from 1 to 120, then I will add larger numbers for them. I mean, I think numerals are hard itself, so I don't think that one will be done very often, but that is a good one to use. And just simple materials that will be needed are just paper and pencil in themselves. So that is my lesson plan.